We move on.
New York.
Russell Wilson story today. Can we talk about that? Do you believe this Russell Wilson story? Pro Football Talk,
No.
Mike Florio, asked and answered two questions today. Did the Seahawks have talks with the Browns 2 years ago about trading Russell Wilson? And could the Seahawks trade Russell Wilson in the near future, even under his current contract? The answer to both those questions Florio posed was yes. Jackie Mack, maybe you just went through this with Tom Brady. Maybe this is different, but Russell Wilson is a decade younger. Could this be true?
I suppose it could be true, but I think in the first case, when they were talking about having conversation with the Browns, at the time, Russell Wilson hadn't signed his new deal yet. So for me, I bet that was a little bit of posturing and saying, okay, hey, you're not going to sign this? Fine. I guess you what? Let's see. We'll trade you to Cleveland. How do you like that? In terms of now that he's signed that deal, I suppose after 2 years or so, if you want to rebuild around him or you want to add some new players, you might have some concerns about that big guaranteed number. But I will tell you this. Russell Wilson has played 8 seasons in the NFL, Tony. Do you know how many games he's missed? 0.
Yes, less than 1. Exactly. Okay, point made. Frank Isola, do you believe any of this?
Yeah, and, you know, when the Colts got rid of Peyton Manning, they had Andrew Luck. And when the Packers got rid of Brett Favre, they had Aaron Rodgers come along. So we've seen it before that these legendary players sometimes don't finish the career with the teams they're on. Most recently, Tom Brady. But come on now, Russell Wilson is 31 years old. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. To me, if this is going to happen, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Again, he's only 31, and Jackie just told you about his durability.
Right, and no one's even brought up the cap hits, which are astronomical. But I ask you, Bill Plaschke, do you believe anything to this? Maybe sources say Russell Wilson won't end his career as a Seahawk.
Yes, I totally believe it. And then talk about the durability. Yes, Jack, you're right. He hasn't missed a game. You know how many times he was sacked last year? 48. That's tied for the league lead. He gets hit a lot. The clock is ticking. He's a great quarterback, franchise quarterback. In 2 years, they will save $11 million in cap space if they get rid of him, if they trade him. I think the clock is ticking on him. I think he's, again, I think slowly.
Right. The question is,
I believe it's. Oh,
he's still one of the best in the league.
Can you trade him? Do you have someone who's as good as him to take his job? That's the other part of the question. Nobody.
Who did the Packers just draft? The Packers are already thinking about getting rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is 5 years older, 6 years older.
In 2 years.
Let's check in with this Chris Sims sound here and see if we can get an honest answer out of Mina.
I'll say this, and I think I've told you this before. I had heard a rumor from some people that I trusted a few years ago that, you know, Seattle called Cleveland when they had the #1 pick. And there was this rumor going around the NFL that they offered Russell Wilson to the Browns for the #1 pick the year they drafted Baker Mayfield. I never followed up, but I just know I had people tell me that that was something people were hearing.
Look, this is the only guy, okay? He's not a journalist, but this is the only guy I heard saying last year, hey, everybody, Lamar Jackson, or a couple years ago, Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in this draft. Now, I'm not saying that he knows what he's talking about here when he says rumors, because that's obviously journalistically flimsy. But, Mina, I want to know what you think about this.
Okay. This makes no sense for several reasons. We can talk about the football ones, but I just want to talk about what would happen if the Seahawks, the business, the organization, traded away the most popular person in the history of football, right? There would be a riot in Seattle, or because it's Seattle, a strongly worded change.org petition. It would not go over well at all. Now, from a football perspective, I think this is crazy, but it's also kind of interesting because right now we are having this debate. Can you win a Super Bowl with a highly paid quarterback as it pertains to Dak Prescott? If you really believe that's impossible, I disagree with that. You should go along. You should say, yeah, trade away Russell Wilson. Let's get that #1 pick. To which I replied, do you see what teams have gotten with their #1 picks? Would you rather have Baker Mayfield, who they ended up taking, over Russell Wilson at $35, $40 million? No, you wouldn't, because it's a sure thing. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. This is bananas.
Least plausible of all of this, though, is the notion that Chris Sims had a scoop like this. And he waited until now to reveal it. Just like, oh, by the way, I had this thing that a few people a few years ago told me, and I don't know if it's true, but check this out. Like, this is clearly Chris Sims looking in his fridge of takes and being like, wait a minute. Is that Russell Wilson to the Browns back there? Yeah, let me give you guys this.
Dan, I don't know if you saw, but this rumor popped up around the same time that another rumor about the Seahawks in a trade hit the internet when a Reddit user named Everybody Loves Nudes advanced the theory that the Seahawks were trying to trade, I believe it was like a second, a sixth, and a seventh for Myles Garrett, and it took off. He got on Seattle radio. It became like a trending topic on the internet. And then he revealed he was actually a Packers fan, and this was like a long con that he had been seeding for years. But that is where we are right now, okay? That is where we are.
If you can't trust Everybody Loves Nudes with a Z, who can you trust?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.